You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Hello, welcome to Tifo IRL. I'm JJ Bull, and in this video we're going to look at Leo Messi and how he scored his first goal for PSG, which was a wonder goal into the top corner. And we're going to look at the tactical reasons that it happened, how he was able to do it, and so we'll just start there. Let's look at how the teams lined up and what happened. So according to Pep Guardiola, City had two options for this game. They could either sit back and praise what he said, sit back and defend in a block, something like that. But then when you've got players like Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, eventually they'll get through. It's not a great idea. Or you can try and dominate the ball and control the game by pushing your opponent and playing high up the pitch, far away from the goal. And that's sort of what they went for. It's similar to the strategy that worked against Chelsea. This is how the teams looked. They were 4-3-3 for both. City were more of a 4-2-3-1 with De Bruyne here, and Sterling was here, and De Bruyne sometimes came around to be a striker like this, in this 4-4-2 shape that City keep using. But for this game, De Bruyne was more of a 10 in this example, and Sterling was more of a straight 9, trying to get in behind the defence, rather than playing as a false 9, which City's 4-4-2 formation often has in. Now, the thing with trying to control the game or trying to sit back and defend is, like we said, you can't keep these guys quiet for too long. And although this is what the team looked like to start the game, this is how it looked like in the final 15 minutes. Ta-da, like this. So the reason it looks like this is because in the final 15 minutes, Man City had to push to try and get back in the game. They are 1-0 down. This is what naturally happens. In the 73rd minute, this is exactly what the pitch looked like. And this is where PSG scored that second goal and how Lionel Messi scored it. So if you look at the way the team works, PSG had 7 players behind the ball, 2 overlapping fullbacks. The goalkeeper makes it kind of 8 behind the ball. But what they always did was they keep these 3, Neymar, Mbappe and Messi, up top. It's a lot like how Luis Enrique used to use Messi, Neymar and Suarez at Barcelona in his quite counter-attack kind of team, in that you'd have Neymar, Mbappe and Messi. Neymar gets back sometimes to help PSG, but most of the time Mbappe and Messi don't. They don't do that. And that gives you lose a bit defensively, and you think of Pochettino being quite a defensive manager and like he likes to have his forwards do a lot of pressing. But the threat that these guys pose on the counter-attack kind of makes that worth having. But anyway, in the situation here, what's going on is that City have gone, they're in their 4-4-2 shape. You can see the 4 is here. Cancelo's a left back who comes inside sometimes. Sometimes he goes wide, but in this position he's right here to help deal with the counter-attack. Get rid of that arrow. And what you have for PSG is your overlapping fullbacks, Mendes and Hakimi. You've got Verratti, who played as a 6 and was often helping in defence. His touch map showed he was often in these deep positions here throughout the game. But he was always on hand to pick up the ball as a kind of deep-lying playmaker and also a defensive midfielder. Idrissa Gueye and Ander Herrera, these 2 midfielders here, and next to Rodri. And they're very much ball-winning midfielders, they're very defensive-minded, but they were getting box-to-box as well, and that was key to how they won the game, actually. Now, in this situation, City had gone kind of from back to forward, because they were opening up to try and get into the game. And so City would attack, PSG would counter, they get stopped around about this area here, and then City would attack again, get up here, and then PSG would counter. And so this happened about 2 or 3 times in a row, and naturally in this situation here, they didn't really have the energy, Man City that is, to get back into their defensive shape as quickly as they could. So their defensive transition is not going to be as effective as normally is under Guardiola's teams, and that's a natural consequence of pressing so much and playing against such a good team and having just run box to box a couple of times. So the team's largely out of shape. But the way this goal kind of works is a few things. We know that Messi's going to stay out wide, we know Neymar's going to stay wide, we know Mbappe's going to be here. Now, Cancelo had been here, takes a shot, it blocks off someone and drops out the air to Verratti's feet. Cancelo moves back to watch Herrera. Now what happens is Ruben Dias, who's part of the back 2, and this is the aggressive thing that City are doing. Rather than sitting deep in a block and having players back to manage it, Dias goes tight to Mbappe. So you see you leave this big space in behind here, which is where Dias would be. And Laporte's kind of the only defender back here. Messi's in a little dangerous area here. Dias is tight to Mbappe, Verratti has the ball. So naturally what Verratti does is starts to move forward with it. Mbappe starts to sprint, Dias immediately has to retreat to look after that. So Mbappe comes here and creates all of this space between, we'll draw it, creates all the space obviously between Verratti and Mbappe. The obvious pass is into Mbappe, who is now on his bike and going. But what happens instead is Verratti brings the ball out into space, so he uses that space created by Mbappe. Cancelo starts to come back as well. Laporte and Diaz start to retreat. Walker starts to retreat to watch Neymar, because Neymar is going to make this run, pretty much. Mbappe is probably going to make that run, and Messi is probably going to make that run. That's what they think is going to happen. So what instead happens is Verratti comes here, and about this position here, he sprays the ball wide to Messi, who pulls out wide. And this is where it becomes problematic for PSG, because Messi is now on the ball, and obviously he's quite good at football. He wanted to try and stop that. Messi is able to move inside the pitch because Laporte and Diaz have to back off with Mbappe here and Walker watching Neymar. Cancelo wants to come back, but Hakimi, and this is why it's so important having this overlapping fullback for PSG, makes this run all the way up and within seconds is way past where Messi is. And that means when Cancelo is coming back, he might normally have engaged Messi here because Cancelo was a left back versus the right forward, but instead Cancelo has to track Hakimi, so comes across here. So he's now out of the game because of Hakimi's run. Hakimi's not even involved in the play, but in another way, he's one of the most important parts of this. So Laporte then is left 1v1 with Messi. Diaz has to stay with Mbappe. They're all retreating because Messi starts to run. Now, the thing I like about this with Messi is that he starts wide here and starts to move inside, but what he's doing is he's not really moving towards where Laporte is. He's always moving kind of a couple of steps ahead of where Laporte is. So here, Laporte knows he has to come out to him, but as Laporte starts to come across here, so say Laporte makes this sort of movement towards him, Messi would then, rather than go this way because it's easier for him to get to him, Messi makes a slightly different run, maybe like that kind of run. Just so it means that Laporte then has to keep adjusting. So he's always adjusting to try and work out where Messi's going. And because Messi runs in this weird way where you don't know which direction he's going to go in, it's very hard to get tight. So Laporte starts to come across to him here, and Mbappe is still in between Diaz here, creates a bit of space between these two defenders. Cancelo's out the game with Hakimi. Walker is dealing with Neymar on this right side here. Now, Laporte thinks he's getting close to Messi, who's moving into this position here. We've seen it 1,000 times with Messi where he moves inside the pitch from the right wing. Laporte keeps watching him. Just exactly at the point where Laporte thinks he can step in to make the tackle. So Laporte's watching the whole time, thinks he can get in to make the tackle. He's about to make it. That is exactly when Messi's going to make this pass. Because what happens is Messi's made a run to ensure that he has a couple of options on. So the first option for Messi in this position is that he thinks he can play this ball in here into Mbappe. So Mbappe can make this run. And that is the natural sort of thing you'd think Mbappe would do. And Diaz is watching that. And he has to stay goal side of him the whole time. So if this ball is going to come in here, that's going to let Mbappe in on goal and he can finish. That's what you think is going to happen. So you've got that. The other option, of course, is that Neymar is stalking around here and Messi can make this pass in behind. That's the wrong arrow. I want this arrow. So he can make one of his lovely chip passes in behind. I think in the position he was in, he could actually have just played it along the ground to get him in. Walker would have to track that. Neymar can get in behind. So that's another option for Messi to play this ball into here, into Neymar. So Walker, of course, has to stay this side of Neymar to make sure that that doesn't happen either. And they know this is what the danger is. Mbappe is here close to Diaz. And so what they do is Messi comes inside. Laporte starts to make his step out to stop him. Doesn't matter because Messi just plays the ball immediately into this ball, into this path of Mbappe. But it's not a hard pass for a through ball. It's a little disguised pass. Diaz comes here, completely sold by the pass. Laporte can't get close to Messi, who bursts past him into this space. He's rotated with Mbappe here. Of course, Neymar's still here. And Mbappe just plays this beautiful little flick back to him, and Messi finishes. And it's all the kind of thing Messi's done for years and years and years. You think with Mbappe, he's had to adjust his game a little bit because Mbappe normally would want to take this ball on here, take it and shoot. He's a striker. But he has learned that when Messi or Neymar makes these little movements, and they were doing it throughout the game, it's a 1-2, it's a disguised 1-2, and that's where they can finish from. It was pretty great. Another wonder goal for Messi, the 1,000th he's ever scored, and that's how Messi scored his wonder goal for PSG, his first for the club.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is where the Manchester United reporters revealed the truth behind the club's Jadon Sancho transfer fiasco, where the Tottenham reporters brought you news of Gareth Bale's return before anyone else, where the Chelsea reporters told us 3 days before his sacking that Frank Lampard was on the verge of losing his job. And you can try it now for free for 30 days. See the link in the description.